Have you ever heard the story of 300 Spartans holding off an entire army? It sounds like something straight out of a blockbuster movie. But the Battle of Thermopylae was a very real event, a pivotal moment in history where a small force stood against impossible odds. But was it really just 300 men? How did they manage to defy one of the largest empires the world had ever seen? Today, we're going to dive deep into the real story of Thermopylae, separating fact from legend, and uncovering the brilliant strategy, the incredible sacrifice, and the lasting legacy of this legendary battle. This isn't just a story about warriors. It's a story about freedom, strategy, and the power of a united stand. To truly understand Thermopylae, we need to go back to 480 BC. The mighty Persian Empire, led by King Xerxes, had set its sights on Greece. This wasn't just a random invasion. It was personal. 10 years earlier, Xerxes' father, Darius, had been defeated by the Athenians at the Battle of Marath. Now Xerxes was back for revenge, and he brought with him an army of unprecedented size. Ancient historians like Herodotus claimed his forces numbered in the millions, but modern scholars estimate it was more likely between 100,000 and 300,000 soldiers, even at the lower end. This was a terrifying force, an overwhelming wave of military power ready to swallow the Greek city-states whole. Faced with this existential threat, the usually fragmented Greek city-states had to make a choice: submit or fight. While many were terrified and chose to surrender, a coalition of states, led by Athens and Sparta, decided to resist. They knew they couldn't match the Persians in a head-on battle on open ground. They needed an advantage, a way to neutralize the Persian numbers. Their strategy was brilliant in its simplicity. Use geography. The plan was to block the Persian army at a narrow coastal pass called Thermopylae, which translates to the Hot Gates, named for the nearby hot sulfur springs. At the same time, the Greek navy would block the Persian fleet at the nearby straits of Artemisia. It was a two-pronged defense designed to halt the Persian advance on both land and sea. This is where the legendary King Leonidas of Sparta enters the picture. He was chosen to lead the ground forces. Now, let's address the big question. Was it really just 300 Spartans? The answer is yes and no. Leonidas did indeed lead a hand-picked force of 300 Spartan hoplites, his personal royal guard, but they weren't alone. The total Greek force at Thermopylae was much larger, probably around 7,000 soldiers from various city-states, including Thespians, Thebans, and others who had joined the cause. The 300 Spartans were the elite core of this army, but it was a combined Greek effort. Still, 7,000 against hundreds of thousands. The odds were still astronomically against them. So, why only 300 Spartans? It was a matter of timing and religious tradition. The battle happened during the Carnea, a sacred Spartan festival during which warfare was forbidden. At the same time, the Olympic Games were being held, which also called for a truce across Greece. Leonidas couldn't take the full Spartan army. Instead, he chose 300 men who already had sons, ensuring that their family lines would not be extinguished if they fell in battle. This decision itself tells you everything you need to know about what they expected. This wasn't a mission they planned to return from. It was a delaying action, a sacrifice to buy the rest of Greece's precious time. When the massive Persian army arrived at Thermopylae, they found the pass blocked by this small, determined Greek force. The pass itself was the Greeks' greatest weapon. At its narrowest point, it was only a few meters wide, a bottleneck, where the Persians' numerical superiority meant nothing. Only a few men could fight at a time, turning the battle into a series of one-on-one skirmishes. For 2 days, the Greeks held their ground with breathtaking courage. The Spartans, with their long spears, heavy bronze shields forming an impenetrable phalanx, and lifetime of brutal training, were unstoppable. They were a wall of muscle, bronze, and discipline. Xerxes was stunned. He threw wave after wave of his soldiers against the Greek line, including his elite personal guard, the Immortals. But the Greeks repelled every single attack. They fought in rotations, allowing them to stay fresh while the Persians grew exhausted. They even used clever tactics, like feigning retreat to draw the Persians in, only to turn and cut them down. For 2 days, the impossible happened. The small Greek army held back the might of the Persian Empire. The ground was slick with the blood of thousands of Persian soldiers. The legend of Spartan invincibility was being forged in real time. But every great story has a turning point. The Greek stand couldn't last forever. The end came not from the front, but from behind. A local Greek man named Ephialtes, hoping for a reward from Xerxes, betrayed his countrymen. He revealed the existence of a hidden mountain path that bypassed the main pass and would allow the Persians to surround the Greek army. When Leonidas learned of the betrayal, he knew the battle was lost. The position was no longer defensible. He made a fateful decision. He dismissed the bulk of the Greek army, ordering them to retreat and prepare for the future battles to come. He told them to save themselves and warn the rest of Greece. But Leonidas and his 300 Spartans did not retreat. They chose to stay. They were joined by about 700 Thespians, who voluntarily made the same ultimate sacrifice, and a contingent of Thebans, who were likely forced to stay as hostages. Why did they stay? For honor, for duty, and for strategy. Their stand would delay the Persians just a little longer, buying more time for the Greek retreat and for Athens to be evacuated. It was a final, defiant act of sacrifice. On the third day, surrounded on all sides, the remaining Greeks fought to the last man. Leonidas fell, and a fierce battle was fought over his body. In the end, they were overwhelmed, but their stand became an immortal legend. So did the 300, or rather, the 7,000, succeed. In the short term, they lost the battle. The Persians broke through and went on to burn Athens. But in the long term, their sacrifice was a resounding success. The 2 days they held the pass were crucial. It allowed the Greek navy to strategically withdraw from Artemisium and prepare for the decisive naval battle at Salamis. The story of the bravery at Thermopylae electrified all of Greece. It became a powerful symbol of resistance against overwhelming odds, inspiring the Greeks to unite and fight with renewed determination. Later that year, the Greek navy, led by the Athenians, crushed the Persian fleet at the Battle of Salamis. The following year, the combined Greek army, led by the Spartans, decisively defeated the remaining Persian forces at the Battle of Plataea, ending the invasion for good. The Battle of Thermopylae is more than just a historical event. It is a testament to the idea that a small group of determined people can change the course of history. It reminds us that strategy and courage can be more powerful than sheer numbers. The sacrifice of Leonidas and his men was not in vain. It was the spark that lit the fire of Greek unity and ultimately secured their freedom, paving the way for the golden age of Athens and the development of Western civilization as we know it. Their story has echoed through the ages, inspiring countless generations. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. I hope you found the real story of Thermopylae as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And do you and Annette forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do and not miss our next historical deep dive. What other legendary battles would you like us to cover? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.